Our next speaker gave me a rare privilege. It was someone I met for the first time today. So Jay was born in Puerto Rico and has spent her entire career finding the invisible assumptions hiding inside systems. By 21, she was a federal mediator and cultural awareness specialist at the U.S. Department of Defense, analyzing presidential orders not for what they said, but how they would adversely impact women, indigenous communities, people of color, and those with disabilities. She's worked, studied, and lived across 35 countries on 6 continents, holds a JD from Boston College Law School, has been admitted to the New York State Bar, studied nonverbal communication across 10 nations during her undergraduate studies, earning a BA in political science and government. She's also worked for British and New Zealand parliaments, worked with Cloud Native Computing Foundation, Linux Foundation, MasterCard, and Air New Zealand, all focused on tech digital transformation, including AI fraud management. Today, she's the director of RMA Group, an AI data sovereignty and structurally adverse impact consultancy based in Auckland, here in Aotearoa, where she helps organizations identify the underlying assumptions hidden in their systems, how these impact their products, their customers, and their revenues, and helps them workshop viable solutions that protect revenue and brand. And so with that, she brings us today one wonderfully important and provocative question. What if the games we build are quietly training players to see the world through only one cultural lens? Welcome to the stage, for the first time, Josmar Roman Miti!
It's just a live so that my kids can see me. It's very cute. Why am I at a games conference? That sounded very corporate and very boring. A couple of reasons, and I think probably the more important one is that at the beginning of this year, or the last day of the last year, I thought I want to be more intentional about spaces and places where I show up and the people that I spend time with. I've been in New Zealand 15 years, and I've spent most of that just feeling like maybe I don't fit in. So I thought, well, what are the spaces where I do fit in and I feel really comfortable? And I thought, well, with other people that are neurodiverse, people that are passionate about tech. And so I started looking in Auckland for groups that have people that are passionate about tech and people that are neurodiverse. And there's Auckland Makes Games, and there's no group as fun as Auckland Makes Games. So I started attending events and meeting people, and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, hanging out with you. But also I have 2 kids. My son is now 14, my daughter is now 12. And when my son was about 5 or 6, he wanted to play video games. And I said, you can play a video game when you code your own. So he started working on that. And by the time he was 8, he'd managed to do the one where, like, you know, there's a square and it jumps up, and it's so very too technical for me. But he created it on his iPad, and he would take it to school, and he and his friends would play. And so he just kind of kept working on different games. And it was working really well for him. So kids at school were playing his video games. So it's kind of evolved, and you know, we have a game console, and the 3 of us sit down and we play together. And we've had some interesting situations where he's like, Mom, I don't really think the 3D games are working for you. He's like, let me see. Some of the indie games are really working for me, if they're really, really basic. But he also doesn't understand why I move the whole remote. He swears that doesn't help me. He's lying. He's trying to get an advantage over me. He's like, you don't need to move your arms. Obviously, I do. I don't know what the problem is there. I don't know how to use this. What button? Big green button. Okay. I did the same. Okay, so I was born in Puerto Rico. I moved to the U.S. when I was about 8. Didn't speak any English. Didn't understand the culture. It took me about 2 years to start speaking English. Went from being the most extroverted child at the playground to the most introverted child at the playground. Spent from from that age until I graduated high school in a predominantly African American community, learning the language, learning Ebonics and how to talk and how to fit in. And then I got to university. And it was all different again, but I didn't know it was different. Because coming from Puerto Rico, coming from the Caribbean, we're all different colors within each family. So like my brother's really brown, and then my sister's really white. And that's normal. So we're all the same, even though we're not. So I didn't realize that I was the other in middle school until Black History Month, and I wanted to read. They chose Kayla to read Maya Angelou, Still I Rise, and I was the best reader in the class. So I said, why don't I get to read? And she says, well, you're not Black. And I was like, I'm not? Because I am. I actually am. And my ancestors come from West Africa. And I was like, that's weird. Like, my mom's dad is, like, super Black. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not Black. So I get to university, and I didn't realize that, like, everybody was white and that was different. But it caused a lot of challenges. Like, the first time someone invited me over their house for dinner, she put a chicken breast in the microwave, and she got, like, pre-cut salad leaves and a pre-cut dressing. So I didn't eat dinner, and I had hardly eaten that day because I wanted to make sure that there was enough space in my tummy to eat all of the food that she was going to give me so that I would be a good guest and have 2 portions. And she put this salad in front of me, and I thought, oh, that's so sweet. She's like doing a whole 3 or 4 course meal. That was the whole meal. So I sat there feeling hot in the face, thinking, she hates me so much, that she invited me over to her house for dinner just to shame me. I never spoke to her again, even though we were in the same sorority. She didn't understand why I didn't speak to her. I couldn't speak to her because she shamed me so deeply. Sorry, I couldn't speak to her. 10 or 15 or 20 years later, I don't know, that was in 2000 something. I graduated in 2003 from undergraduate. 2008, I graduated from law school. After I had my kids, a mutual friend who's known both of us forever, I told her that story. I told her the story, the original story. Mitchner shamed me. And Julie just laughed. And she was like, that was the first time she ever cooked. And it was for you. She was loving me. And I felt deeply shamed, and we never recovered. We never became friends. So, hey, you said it would work. Where do I point it?
Well, I'm out of my depth here. I'm just going to push the button harder. Hey, all right.
Oh, it only works when you do it.
Button.
I did. Oh, just kidding.
I also did the same thing.
You're so kind. So, I feel like my background has been shared, but essentially, not just through my own personal life experiences, but then also through my work, it's been all about finding those underlying assumptions. And those of you that are neurodivergents are like, well, we're not brown, but also. We spend a lot of time walking into a room, playing detective. What are the rules in this room? How do I play this game? So there's that. So my son was creating his own games, and then he was playing his own games. One day he came from school, we're in Auckland, and he said, Mom, we were playing Chinese Among Us during recess. And I was like, how is Chinese Among Us different to regular Among Us? And he was like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, were the rules different? No. I was like, who was playing the game? They were all Chinese students, except my son. He's just Puerto Rican. So because they're all Chinese students, when they play Among Us, it's Chinese Among Us. I thought that was so cool. I thought that was so cool. And so I thought, what happens? Because we're really struggling to play games together as a family. We sit there, the three of us. I bought 4 controllers because, of course, we were all going to play together. And so many games are single-player games. Or if they're multiplayer games, you need to be on a different device in a different house to play together. And that does not work for me. It's like, I want to play next to you so that I can beat you with the pillow cushion to get an advantage. So I'm like, it works, it's fine. I have 3 brothers, so my son is used to being bullied by myself and his sister. He's also used to his sister always being right by virtue of the fact that she's a girl, even though she's younger. Rules are rules. So I thought, what happens if Minecraft were Puerto Rican? Right? What happens if there are a bunch of Puerto Ricans on the couch playing this game? First of all, you would never spawn alone. Oh, who does that? Like, who goes out into the wild alone? I'm gonna build something. Why would you do that if you have 300 cousins? Like, we will help you. Let's build this house together. Like, that is so weird. So you would never, ever spawn alone. I'm just gonna, ta-da. Can you still hear me over here? Maybe? I don't know. Yay! Okay, this is more design tech. This is for you. I was like, I need to have something in there that makes sense to someone. So this is kind of the idea. You're exploring, you're gathering, you're making decisions, you're building together, you're facing natural consequences. It's not necessarily survival, is it? So it's more a narrative game. Let's see. Here we go. So I won't go into all of it, but some of the ideas, right, is you would spawn into a rainforest. Obviously. Like, is your country not all mountains and filled in rainforests? That's so weird. So, like, why would you spawn anywhere else? And then, why would you cut down trees to build? Then when the hurricane comes, what is going to protect you? And why would you build on the ground where wild animals who used to be there and are no longer there can eat you? So you would build in the trees and in among the trees. You would string hammocks in the tree. We still do that part. And that's where you would sleep. Things like, instead of just sleeping at night, like, you would have to take a siesta. You would have to sleep at midday because the sun is so scorching hot that unless you're like deep in the foliage, you're gonna die. But dying is not fun or funny. So I figured you turn into a puddle. So if you like forget and you're not, like, you haven't built your house and you're not having a siesta in time, then you just turn into a puddle. And whatever the concept of time, you have to wait until you materialize again. You would need NPCs, which some of my friends at Auckland Makes Games have explained. This is difficult to have like a handful of NPCs that are going to spawn with you, and they each have different functions or different skill sets that they bring to the game. But in my mind, in my idea, if you spawn with a cousin, that cousin's just always with you, right? They're just always with you. So if you turn into a puddle, he turns into a puddle. Like, thick or thin, like, that's where you are. Or like if you spawn with your grandmother, I figure it could be like a Russian roulette. Like, you just never know who you're gonna spawn with. Like, no! So if you spawn with your grandmother, like, she just cooks all the time and she tries to feed you all the time. And that's good because it helps your health bar. But if you are like out exploring and you forget to go back to grandma and eat, she can hit you with a chancleta, so a jandal, which then lowers your health. So it's like, yeah, catch-22, grandma can heal you or hurt you. I mean, it's just like life. And then just social norms, like you would have to greet everyone, even zombies. And so then it's like, you need to get really good at like greeting and killing. Like, buenos dias. I mean, you kill or they kill, right? And so sometimes you're gonna die, but you have to greet. So let's say you don't greet and you just ignore them, like, I don't see them because they're a zombie. Then that night, instead of like a random mob coming to your house, there's a very specific mob of 30 people that show up at your house unannounced, and it's all family, and they're beating you with a chancla because you brought shame to the family. In Puerto Rico, we say, like, do you not have a mother? If you, like, have bad manners, it's very personal. And so, and wild animals, like, in Minecraft, I have fun chasing all the animals, trying to hack them down. I can't, which is part of the fun. I'm just too slow and I can't focus on where I'm going. So my kids think it's really funny. But if it were Puerto Rican Minecraft, why would we kill animals? Like, we would actually, bait them is the wrong word, but we would kind of, give them food and get them to come and try to, get them to become part of our family, to help us. So we tame them, we domesticate them. That just makes more sense. And because it's a rainforest, food is everywhere, right? Food is just growing off of every single tree, so there's less of a need to kill the animals. We talked about that. And somebody mentioned Stardew Valley earlier today. So it's just more of like the details around what it might look like and what the game might feel like, which is very different. So that is different to the regular Minecraft survival concept and idea and how it looks and how it feels, and is more attuned to my culture. But my job is to go, okay, but where are the assumptions here? Because now I'm making assumptions based on my culture, and there are still others in the room when we play this game. And so that's, what assumptions? That's part of, I guess the part that I want to share, that's part of every game, every social setting. There's always going to be an other, and there are always going to be underlying assumptions. Like we should live in nature. Like, until the second, it didn't occur to me that, like, will we have lighting? Like, probably not. Like, would we have a toilet? That did not occur to me as part of the design. Like, why do you need a toilet? And you're in the rainforest. So there are, like, just always going to be assumptions that we all make on our lens. And so being able to review and analyze each other's work from that perspective can be really, really helpful. More than helpful, I think it can be impactful for the people that are playing the game. So this next one I take no credit for. My son and my daughter sat and thought about this. They got really excited, and I reckon it's really good. So if anybody wants to talk to my son. But the question was, what if Minecraft were Maori? And what my son came up with is it should be a survival game, but it should be a rage bait game based on the different gods and goddesses in Maori culture. So you set an intention at the start of the game. There are the different biomes, there are quests that you have to complete, and the different gods and the different biomes give you the quests to complete. Completing quests can give you mana or take away mana. And then there is just the constant random things outside of your control. So you're not worried about animals hurting you because it's New Zealand. And you're not necessarily worried about other tribes, although there's that, but overwhelmingly it's survival against forces that you cannot control. There is nothing you can do. You can't fight it off. You just have to deal with it. Which I love. So he's Gen Z, right? And I just thought, how amazing is that? You know, this is a kid who started school and like immediately went into lockdown and has just kind of lived through this society of things entirely outside of our control. And so this is what he came up with. He says, you know, the real enemy is not an enemy that you can fight, but the enemy that you can't control, and learning that resilience in face of it and making it funny. And he was saying, like, you know, kids are gonna like throw the like remote control across the room and just be like, I'm never playing that again. And then in like an hour, they're gonna be back and they're gonna be like, no, I'm gonna try this again. So, and he was very specific, obviously, about the different gods and goddesses and what they would and would not do. I love that it was always about kumara. He was like, he loves kumara. He was like, if there's like instead of a health bar, it's like a kumara bar. It's like, if you do a good job, they give you a kumara. If you do a bad job, they take a kumara away. Like, everything is about kumara. If like you can choose to build a home as your first structure, or you can choose to build a marae as your first structure. If you choose to build a marae as your first structure, then you like automatically have a gang of people, right? So if you get raided, your fauna show up. They're all already there because that was where you put the priority. But you don't get to sleep in the marae. You still need to you still need to like build your own house, so it has its own complications. The other thing that I really like, my son also thought that was going to create a lot of rage. When you spawn, someone will waiata. There'll be a woman who like waiata because you've spawned. And then when you die, like someone will start a tangi, but because you respawn, they'll have to stop immediately, and then the waiata comes back. And he was like, that is gonna be so annoying. And I was like, well, you can't skip it. And he was like, you can just walk away. And I was like, then a chancla will hit you on the head. I love that Maori culture and Pacific culture, whether it's Vanuatu or the Philippines, they also have chanclas, different names, but it's still gonna get ya. And again, this is just like from a design perspective. This will be hopefully meaningful to all of you. And then the question again on the assumptions that are embedded in the game, some of the things that we need to think about, people that we would need to bring in and have a discussion with them. But it's like, what are the assumptions that we're making when we decide that we're gonna play this game? Like the fact that we can't bribe the gods, right? It's a different relationship in Christianity. Like you can pray, you can light candles, like you can try to bribe God. But here, no, they're just gods, they're doing their thing, and sometimes it gets in your way. So this is just a takeaway, like, when you're looking at your own games, whether it's a game that you're playing or designing, what is happening in that game? Whose worldview? Our video games, like, overwhelmingly have very specific white Western male perspective. I get it. That's who's been making it. But I've also seen my family members make, my two cousins, they went into gaming and they're still making video games from like an American white male perspective because it's what they learned. But today, the majority of the world playing video games are brown. They are other. And you're deciding their values in a massive way. Like those, 10-year-olds, they're gonna grow up and a lot of their values and how they see the world and their expectations were shaped by your games. So what are the values in your game? And we take them for granted, like, why would you cut down a tree? But we can't take it for granted. Every gift is a kumara. Like the consequence is no kumara. So it's critical. I have no time left. So my website is romanmiti.com. I'm hoping in the next week to have an agent live, an AI agent, where you can like put in an idea, brief, not verbose, and it can structurally point out assumptions in a very like structured, step-by-step, 5-point process. Like, here are some of the assumptions to consider. And I'm hoping that people will start playing with it, and that will be the bridge that leads to, actually, maybe we should have someone come and talk to us. Like, maybe we should pitch our design game to someone who can then help us identify the assumptions that we're missing. Something somewhere along the line, like maybe we can test the game or have someone come in and help us test the game among different people and then point out the assumptions that the kids are raising. It's not easy, like recognizing assumptions and lifting them out of what you see or what you read is not easy, but it can be done because, I did it. So yeah, and I'm also hoping on doing some work training programs towards that as well. Obviously, I'm really passionate about it. It's 23 seconds left. I will be outside or grab me later if you wanted to talk about it or ask any questions. I hope I did an okay job. But thank you for the opportunity to share this with you. I really appreciate it.